Hello and welcome to
Hello,
our not live stream,
or
our
a
pre-recorded
recorded
stream.
stream, or unapologetically recorded stream.
um, I'm Cel Davison, and you
What do
are.
you? I am Hana Lee. What did you do for No Longer Home in the game? Just
um,
talking about roles.
I did a lot of the writing. I did a lot of the cinematography kind of stuff. Some 3D modeling and other things. How about yourself? What did you do?
I did like the concepts, modeling, character, whatever's. I've been speaking a lot of Japanese lately, so I might not be able to dish out English words appropriately.
Yeah.
So I'm actually kind of forgetting some of the terminology here. Uh, so yeah, it's modeling stuff, character stuff, animation, and Japanese localization.
Yeah, it's okay. You get a pass. It's also quite late for you.
Yeah, it's almost midnight for me, so
Yeah. Um. So obviously we made the game No Longer Home. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. Um. How you wanted to kind of get into a bit of a post-mortem on the game.
yeah. And we shall do that as I'm drawing stuff related to No Longer Home.
Yeah.
And please ignore how I look on the camera because I might have my mouth open and stuff when I'm drawing and like concentrating a lot. I'm already in my pajamas. I'm on my bed. Let's go.
It's it's okay. It's the vibe. It's a chill stream. They always are.
They always are. So without further ado, so I wanted to draw. Where'd that brush come from? So I wanted to draw like just the main characters bow now and the monsters. Um, because I feel like the monsters don't get enough love yet, and I want to draw them more.
Yeah, I think the problem is a lot of people miss them.
Yeah, I think like a lot people don't miss Lou, but a lot of people miss Guy, I think, because
Yeah.
they're not entirely sure like where he appears, when he appears.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like our I guess like a kind of our like from soft inspired approach to narrative in a way.
Yeah,
Like there's a lot of stuff you can miss intentionally, and you are like rewarded for exploring more. Um,
yeah,
I think like if you play the game very quickly, you realize that there's stuff that changes as you move from room to room. Like once you come back, there might be different objects, and some objects might have disappeared. Um, so yeah, it is very much just like you kind of get more if you put more into it.
yeah. And it's honestly like not too hard to find. And
No, no, it's
I've
not.
seen plenty. Yeah, I've seen plenty of like people on Twitter being like, "Oh yeah, I platinumed no home." I don't exactly know what that like, means or well, I mean, I know what it means,
Yeah,
but like it's like No Longer Home's not really like a I platinumed it sort of game,
yeah. No, it's not. I personally think all the achievements are very easy to get, and I'm kind of
Yeah,
like surprised most people don't platinum them, like just like by accident. I
yeah,
guess it at least needs you to play through twice
yeah.
for you to be able to do that. Because
But
there are some that it's like you can only do one or the other.
yeah, and you can't get all the dialogue options just by playing twice, but you can
Yeah, yeah.
quote unquote platinum the game as long as you yeah just spend your time going around.
Something Addy was like tweeting about recently. Addy is the lead programmer on was the lead programmer on No Longer Home. But something they were tweeting about recently was about like uh how a lot of people focus on like different endings in games, and how like no longer has something very special where you kind of you're guiding conversations, and you're kind of deciding on the journey, or like the method you take the journey, rather than necessarily deciding the outcome.
Yeah, and I mean, like the outcome's the same for this game as well, which
Mm.
happened to put off a lot of people. Um, which, like the game doesn't have to be for everyone, and like I mean, I like multiple endings, but I think there is a charm for a game to just have like multiple options, but single endings or a
Yeah,
single ending.
yeah. I was wondering,
I feel
like,
like
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh yeah, yeah, I just kind of felt like I wish people appreciated that more, and like you don't have to always have the outcome sort of like um kind of hard to talk about deep stuff while I'm drunk. Um,
That's
you
okay.
don't have to be in control all the time. Like you don't have to like
Mm.
um, always anticipate what's gonna happen. You kind of just let
Yeah.
things happen.
I think like there is quite a lot of control. It's just like not in the way players are used to.
Yeah,
And I think that is like an interesting thing to explore, as like a designer, and like I do think it's worthwhile as a player, like experiencing new kinds of control within a game. I do think like players are just quite conditioned to expect a particular formula.
yeah, and want to break out the mold, don't we? Want to be constantly challenging the norm.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I do want to like I do think we did like set out to like challenge players a little bit.
Yeah, and like our sort of not exactly goal, but like we kind of wanted people to figure out their own conclusion for this game because I think like you can interpret it as a happy ending or like a bittersweet ending. That's I feel like that's totally up to you, and
Yeah.
it depends on like um, what sort of experience you've had personally. So it is like a very
Mm.
it's a very personal experience, even if it is like our experience specifically. I think it's very easy to put like yourself in it and like come to your own conclusions about how to feel
Yeah.
and how you think the characters ended up or have kind of felt in the end. Or
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense.
No, you are, you
Let's hope
are.
I am. Yeah.
I'm curious if you were like surprised by any, not the ending in particular, but just like I guess like the game overall, or like a particular part. If there like were any like reactions to it, or like interpretations of it that like surprised you at all.
There was. Oh yeah, I think it's like um, it was something that I was like kind of vaguely thinking about. I don't think I actually like put it into words. I can't
Mm.
exactly remember what it was, but I think it was like um, it had to do with the house rotting and like kind of
Oh,
disappearing, and that was like totally an intentional thing. But there was someone who put it in a very interesting way, and can't exactly remember what they said, which is
like
sucky of
reading
me.
into this idea of like decay.
Yeah, something like that. I was like, it was a really well thought out thing about decay, and I think they tied it to memory and how like, this
Mm.
place will be forgotten at some point. Um, and like the house is dying as
I
these characters are moving out.
Yeah, I really like that, and like I do think like that is kind of what I was going for. Like Like I was going for the idea of like decay and like regrowth. Like growth is very like obvious, strong theme.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, like I really like the idea of like decay in relation to memory because I do think
yeah,
um, well, like it very clearly is a game about our own memories.
and
Um,
I think. Oh, sorry, go on.
no, you go.
I think what was interesting is that I think they personified the house being like the house is dying,
Yeah,
um, which is true. Like, the house itself is still there, I would assume. But like what it contained did sort of quote unquote die, I
yeah,
think.
it's like dying for those characters. It kind of I don't know. I think it for Bo and Al, the two main characters, it kind of that house contained like hopes and dreams and a particular era in their life, and that's something that they end up moving past because they have to.
Yeah, because of like foreseen circumstances, but circumstances that were completely out of their control.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I
Um,
mean, um, kind of unrelated, but like, Bo and Dow are having a sort of good ending because I will be moving to the UK soon in
yeah,
like
yeah.
4 months.
Yeah, there's your like behind the scenes
Silver lining
like epilogue.
in the unwritten sequel to No Longer Home. No
um,
longer sad.
um, I think for me, some of the things that surprised me, like were like I don't know, some of the like slightly more negative ways people sort of saw the game and like I don't know. I think I struggled with like some people not being able to connect to it because of it being so like different from their experience, and I was quite surprised by that. Um,
Yeah, I have specific like I don't want to focus on negative reviews, but I do
no,
remember
no,
one who was like, "I'm an immigrant of the UK, and this is like not my experience." It's like it's of course it's not your experience. You're like in your 40s. We're in our 20s, and
yeah,
immigration was not the same back in the day.
yeah, that's exactly the one I was thinking of. But oh, like more than that, like we have had loads of people really relating to it, which like I was expecting, and like we kind of anticipated it because of in the early days, like taking the game around different shows and finding that people really related to it, which I think was a surprise to us to begin with. Um, I think quite a lot of those um, early days um, shaped the design of the game, like getting feedback from people. I was
Yeah,
wondering
like
if you have any like particular ways you think it shaped the game, Hannah.
I think, there's a lot of technical things, obviously, and like we had a lot of people talk about what was good and what was like not so good about the game, um, on a like story wise and technique technique technical wise. And it really helped. And I think in terms of like story and stuff, like people have sort of elaborated on what they did relate to and what they didn't relate to, which was really
Mm,
helpful. But like I think like the story that we were going to tell hasn't changed too much since the beginning, but like um I think um what's the word I'm trying to get out here? Uh some people have been like, oh, maybe this scene you can elaborate on like this and that a bit more, like,
Yeah,
or like maybe you can cut down on this dialogue to make space for this
yeah,
scene, sort of thing, which was
yeah.
really helpful.
Yeah, I remember like talking to people and them being like, "Oh, there's like something really interested in here. I'd like to see it like dig a bit deeper into it."
Yeah,
Um, like I don't think we ever sort of designed the game to make it relatable. It was just that it just happened to be that way. Um,
yeah,
I think if you're like setting out to be relatable, you're not gonna be particularly relatable. I don't know. It's a bit like trying too hard.
yeah. And like not all experiences are universal, and there were a lot of
Yeah.
reviews that were like, oh, Moni rich art students. It's like, I mean, maybe me to an extent, not you. Like
Yeah.
we did heavily touch on like the working class issues that you face.
And it is
Um,
like, I do think art has the right to moan about stuff, you know? Like,
yeah,
yeah, it is moany. Like, yeah, intentionally. Because I think, like, things are worth moaning about. Like, I don't know. I think, like, some things in the world are not right and they should be pointed out.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, and I think some people sort of expected Bow and Dad to be, perfect characters, but
Mm.
the point, the whole point of their characters were to be flawed.
Yes.
They're human, and they've not really like formed um like definite opinions just yet because they are still children in a sense.
Yeah, like I remember some people expressing frustration at Bo and Al for not not having any what's the word, like praxis, you know, not being able to put any put any of their thoughts into like action, um, which I like. I understand the frustration, but it's like they're students. They're like, you know, they're still like growing and like they don't know what
They
they're
don't have
doing.
jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're struggling with like finding their place in the world. You can't really expect them to like start the revolution. You know.
Because like
um,
we did mention the whole revolution bit, but like
yeah,
we like it was specifically written so that we could didn't know what to do, and that was the whole point.
yeah, yeah. I think like No Longer Home is not a game that is particularly trying to offer any answers. I do think it is a game that is expressing frustration about not having any answers, um, and about a lack of direction.
Yeah, like it's a moany game and it's fine. Like games can be
Yeah,
moany. Like we had a
yeah,
lot to talk about, and we had a lot that we wanted to complain about that we couldn't really like
yeah,
that we didn't really see in other games, I suppose.
yeah. And I think it is a bit like I think it's like an invitation for the audience to moan along with us.
Yeah,
Um, to also have a bit of hope too. Like I do think it is a very hopeful game as well.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
like I think particularly the end is very hopeful, even if it's bittersweet. Um, yeah, like I'm quite proud of its maturity, but I think it talks about a very specific time in life where you don't have the answers.
Yeah. It was kind of funny how like um people compared the game to Goose Game a lot, but they were like, Goose Game existential crisis, and I was like, yeah, yeah, I suppose that comparison's getting a bit weak at this point, but sure.
Yeah, I get it because we use flat colors as well, and it's like set in the UK. But other than that, it's like not at all alike. But like, I don't know. I like Goose Game, and like, it's certainly not the worst thing to be compared to.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, the other obvious comparison is Kentucky Zero, which is like a very obvious inspiration, and like also not a insulting thing to be compared to at all.
Yeah, if anything, a great thing to be compared to.
Yeah, yeah. There's an element of like, I do think Kentucky Route Zero has kind of become this big cult behemoth, and it's I suppose it's quite a lot to live up to, um,
Yeah,
and in a way something we could almost never live up to. Um, but we were definitely trying to make something different from it, even if it was inspired by it.
yeah. I think it being like kind of a cardboard cutout of our lives was
Mm.
like one of the main differences of,
Yeah,
yeah. And I think, we obviously have like fictional aspects to it, and we did add like magical realism, but the core of the game is very like, this was our lives, like exactly kind
mm.
of piece by piece almost.
Yeah. I think like having it all set in one place is kind of it's like I found it was a bit of a like double-edged sword. Like, how did you feel about it?
Yeah, I definitely felt that because, like, even when we were modeling things, like when we got to the outside, we're like, oh, finally. Oh yeah, I was about to swear. Um, try not to swear in the stream.
Delinquent mode coming out.
Um, yeah, like I did get a bit worried that it was going to get boring, and that, like, it is very claustrophobic, and
Mm.
I'm sure people wanted to go outside, and the only outside you could go to, apart from the ending, is the garden, which isn't technically outside.
Yeah, yeah, like it's
Um,
still within that inward-looking world of like burnout.
yeah. So I think what was good was that we added the meta, like the game within the game scene,
Mm.
um, which is like an in-game game called Among the Leaves, which let us explore areas that were around our like parents' house, and places that are the flat basically, and kind of
Yeah,
giving us a bit of a release from that sort of claustrophobic feeling.
yeah, and I think there are other like similar scenes where we kind of transport the player outside of the flat, um, by like taking them into like the place that the characters' heads are in. Like the later half of the barbecue, for example, where the characters are talking about uh, the London Underground and Crossrail, and then we like pan down to two different stations, um, and like I do feel like that helps open up the game a little bit to like the world outside of it, which I think is
Yeah,
important.
like just kind of a breath of fresh air, but also to give a bit of a perspective that, this place isn't closed off completely. There's more to the outside world, and like more I'm trying to say this cohesively. Like, Bo and Dow are completely trapped in their heads
Yeah,
for the most part of the game. So it's kind of like a reminder to them as well that their heads in this flat isn't the only thing that they should be seeing.
yeah, I think they've got a bit of the old protagonist syndrome. Um, like, um, yeah, like those off. offer little reminders um, of like, hey, it's not just about you.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of other struggles going around in the world as well.
Yeah.
And like, regardless of how they're feeling, the world still turns. There's not much they can do about it apart from just living with it, really.
Mm. Do you have any particular favorite scenes or like incidentals where it like transports you away from the flat in that way?
Um, I mean, I'm quite fond of all of them, but if I were to pinpoint one, I'm not sure. Um, it's kind of hard to think at the moment because the proportions of what I'm drawing right now is not right, and it's
It's looking
bugging me.
great though. Like it's looking so good. I've not
Oh,
acknowledged of
thank
like
you,
what you've been doing so far, but like yeah, I think it's really cool.
thank you. I need to get the shoulder right first. Um, yeah, I do like the My God, um, hold on.
I mean, if you want, I could start off.
Yeah, go.
So I think for me, like, I think my favorite might actually be like one of the last scenes we put in the game, um, like overall, like, um, because it was one that we did as like a Kickstarter reward, um, and it was like it's this moment where you're playing as Al and you look out of the window and you start to eavesdrop on your neighbors. Um, and like, I really enjoyed writing the dialogue for that, but I also really like how it kind of it reminds you about like the community in the immediate area. Like there are other
Yeah,
people who live in this neighborhood.
yeah, and are like, vaguely aware of what you're doing, but like they
Yeah,
don't know you. They don't even know your name. We didn't know their names either.
yeah, and it's like also kind of like this meta moment of like you as the player voyeuristically looking into Bo and Al's lives, and now Al is voyeuristically looking into these neighbors' lives, and getting this small slice of what's going on. Um, so I really enjoyed that element of it. Um,
Oh, what can you do? They're a voyeuristic bastard.
I think we all are a little bit,
Yeah,
you know. I think it is
we
in our nature.
yeah, we want to know about the latest drama to an
Yeah,
extent, not fully.
I think there's like a healthy amount, like without like completely invading others' privacy, and
Yeah,
like obviously with No Longer Home, we put it all out there ourselves, so it's like you know we put that on the line. We kind of made that choice, so it's not like I feel weird that people have this window into a specific time in my life, and like obviously that that look in is also an exaggerated fictionalized version of it. Like
yeah, and I
it's
think
not like you would know either of us from
yeah,
playing the game.
and we've sort of successfully depersonalized ourselves um from the experience that we actually experienced, and like we've grown as people since then. So like whatever qualms people might have with Boned Out at their current state, we're kind of like, yeah, they're flawed characters, like we were flawed people, but we grew, and it's all fine.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I'm much more comfortable um, with those parts of me being on display than I used to be. I definitely like struggled with it a bit. earlier on.
Yeah. Like, and I was a bit worried at first, like, about the reception of how these characters would be,
Oh
but I
yeah,
was kind of
yeah,
like,
same.
it kind of didn't matter in the end because that whatever depiction of me is not really me anymore. So it's just like, yeah, whatever. These are characters.
Yeah, yeah, and like when you accept it as fiction, you can kind of get a bit more silly with it, and like you can exaggerate things, you can dive a bit deeper and get a bit more serious, and
Yeah,
like yeah, just like push everything a bit further.
yeah. Turn yourself into characters. The world is your oyster. Self-analyze through thinking, what would I be like if I were a video game character?
It is always like very strange seeing fan art of the characters. I love it, um, but like yeah, that will never not feel strange. How do you feel about it?
I don't actually feel that strange. I think have really sort of depersonalized myself,
Mm.
and I think it's especially because like I do not look like that anymore, or like do not
Yeah,
look
that's
like my
true.
depictions in No Longer Home anymore at all. Like
Yeah, neither do
if
I.
you look at my passport picture of like my before and after, like it's a different person. So um so yeah, like I'm actually more interested to see like what people draw, like what sort of aspects that they felt like worth drawing, or like not really worth drawing maybe, but like that
What kind of
kind of,
stuck out to them?
yeah, like what gave them that drive to draw whatever.
Yeah,
And it's like I think it's mostly like the monsters, but um because they're a lot easier to draw, and they're not as personal as Bone Out, so like
yeah,
they again definitely are easier to draw. But yeah, it's I found that really interesting, like what people chose to depict.
yeah, yeah. And I definitely like to see more fan art. I don't want to
Yeah,
like sound
please
like
draw
I'm
more.
saying like don't do it fan art. It makes me feel uncomfortable. It doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. It's just like a strange feeling.
And I love me.
Yeah, we're like completely self obsessed, and that's why we made this game.
Yeah,
So please draw fan art so that you can stroke our egos.
yeah. Like, I need more things to use as my profile picture on social media. So, by all means.
um, did you uh, come up with any particular scenes, like outside the
Yeah, I
flat
think
scenes?
my favorite is probably the underground, because I think
Mm,
it's the only scene where you have people without any dialogue, but you kind of get a glimpse into what their life
mm.
is, like with the underground workers working on the Crossrail.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
It's like, just ordinary people living their lives, working,
Mm,
and it's like a much different perspective of the characters, like the characters with dialogue that appear in the game.
mm.
So yeah, I think that was really nice to have.
What do you think it is that you like about them being these characters without dialogue?
Um, I don't know how to word this in like a nice way. Um, I'm not saying they're not important, but they're just kind of like, everyday people um
Mm.
with their own issues that you don't really have to have them voice because already know they have problems of their
They
own.
get to sort of exist on the edge of the narrative. They're not like strictly inside it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
that totally makes
because
sense.
yeah, because you've already heard a lot of these like university students complaining and not complaining, but like being very anxious about their own future and stuff and how they end up.
Yeah.
And you get these construction workers who may or may not have gone through similar experiences, and they seem to maybe be doing fine, but they might not be fine. Who knows? We've not given
Yeah.
them any names or anything. We don't know what their families are like, but that's kind of up to interpretation. And you have that freedom to imagine what sort of lives these people live.
Yeah, well, construction work is an interesting one because it's like it can have people from so many different backgrounds in it. Like it used to be considered a very like working class um occupation, but that's definitely like outdated now. Like
Yeah,
it's definitely like a huge mix of middle class and working class. Like I would say like maybe leaning slightly more towards middle class, especially with like engineer jobs like obviously like paid quite well.
yeah. I guess you didn't think about that or think of it that way. Actually, that's quite interesting. Because I think in Japan it's still very much a working class job, although class
Oh, really?
operates extremely differently in Japan. Because
Yeah,
we have kind of like a not exactly a slur, but uh like a
a
sort of
derogatory
non
term.
yeah of calling them, and it's still used to this day,
Hmm.
and I think that's what they call themselves as well. But it's still kind of like a semi looked down upon
Hmm.
profession.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting how different professions can be seen in different cultures.
Yeah,
It's like they definitely I don't know, like particularly like the kind of construction we were looking at, like that you see in No Longer Home because it's like they're creating tunnels for trains. Like it's quite a heavily engineered thing, which is obviously um, uh, like I don't want to call it skilled work because that's not necessarily what I mean, but it's like it's it's the kind of work that our society particularly values. Like
yeah,
I don't think like that there's any such thing as like unskilled work, and I think a lot of work that people call unskilled is actually like some of the
incredibly
most
skilled.
skilled work.
It's
Like
you put like an IT worker or something, or like a um let's say like someone who works at Google,
mm,
for example, you know, you place them in McDonald's, see how they do. A Japanese McDonald's, see how
right,
they do.
yeah, and
And
keeping up with that pace the whole time. Like
yeah.
yeah,
And as I worked in fast food. Fast food is rough.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you get people throwing money at you, being like, "Oh yeah, get me my food." And it's like, "Oh my God."
Any customer service is horrible.
It's like, who birthed you? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah. I think like because we you know we both come from different backgrounds in terms of like nationality and class. Um, mm, but like we have both worked terrible customer service jobs.
Yeah. Like, because, I worked fast food, and I also worked at a gallery, which is like, they're both retail, or not retail, like customer service, but they call in like much, much different customers. And, they're both pretty like heartbreaking, and like it kind of
Mm.
affects your pride and ego in a sense.
Oh yeah. Oh, like I think they're incredibly dehumanizing jobs to work.
Yeah. And like I wouldn't say it was all bad. There were like good things about working in both in terms of like the communication skills, and I can put on the fakest smile on earth now. Because in Japan we're required to do that.
Oof.
But yeah. I don't know if this exists in other places in the
Mm.
world, but in a McDonald's, which I've not worked, but I just know it because it's on their menu. They have a menu called Smile, and it says 0 yen, and you ask for it, and like the worker smiles for you.
Oh, that is horrible.
I don't know if they still have it. Maybe they don't because it's completely dehumanizing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the number one definition of emotional labor.
Yeah, well, it's like, I don't know, it's like you get men on the street, like, like, negging women, like, give us a smile, like, and then, like, that's integrated to your workplace? Like, that's awful.
Yeah, I hope they don't have it anymore, but I wouldn't be super surprised if they still do.
Yeah.
So
Jesus.
that's a Japanese work culture, or
Yeah, like, I do
uh,
think Japan seems pretty horrible for, like, like, particularly horrible for working in customer service.
like because it was quite interesting. I know we were supposed to be talking about like game postmortem stuff, but I think like
No, it's
cultural
fine. This
stuff
is
is
like
interesting as
this is
well.
all related anyway. Like we
Yeah,
talk about this stuff in the game.
yeah. Um, what was I saying? What were we talking about? I lost my train of thought.
Japan's and customer service.
Customer service, yes. I know we were talking about that. Um, oh yeah, like it was interesting because when I went to the UK for the first time, I was surprised at how bad the customer service was. Because no one gave a damn, and I was like, what the hell's going on? But then I realized, like, these people aren't being paid to be your
No,
therapist or
no,
like
no, absolutely not.
to make you smile. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. Like it I think personally speaking, it would be like from like my cultural background at least, like
Mm.
I wouldn't say like give us a smile, obviously, like I wouldn't want to give some random person a smile, but like it's kind of nice to have that like back and forth, like, oh, thank you, you're welcome kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um, that kind of basic sort of communication. I feel like
yeah.
I
This
don't
like
really,
basic human connection.
yeah, and I think like if you add Ja add Japan's working culture and the UK's working culture and like divide that into half, you kind of get the perfect balance of like um people not being overtly nice, but still kind of like um not excited. It's hard to
Yeah,
word.
I don't know. I'm not sure I agree at all. I know what
Yeah,
you're getting at, but I'm not sure I agree.
yeah, and
I'm
that's
just like, I don't
totally
know.
understandable.
I don't think anyone in customer service gets paid enough not to be miserable all the time.
Yeah,
And,
I
like
think
maybe
like
if they were paid more, I'd agree with you, but
yeah, yeah, that's totally true. And like again, this is like very heavily just different working culture
yeah,
and
yeah, for sure.
not just working culture, just different culture in general. But
Yeah.
because over here, it's always kind of like you should be smiling all the time. No one should know
Mm.
about your like personal problems because it doesn't matter. And it's kind of the same everywhere else in the world. But
Oh, I've got a
I
good
think,
question.
yeah,
Um, how do you think no longer home handles like different cultures, like in terms of burnout?
I think it handles it well. And the reason why I say that is because there's more people, because this is a um quote unquote Western game, I would say. Like
Oh
it
yeah,
is mainly for Western
absolutely. It
audiences.
like it's set in London.
Yeah.
It's about
Um
mainly about Western issues.
yeah. So I feel like the culture really comes out when people say Bo is more relatable.
Mm.
Because I think Al's struggles are very, very kind of related to their own culture and their sort of struggles that they face in Japan,
Right.
which is not something that most people face
Yeah,
unless you live
yeah,
here.
yeah. I wonder if it's um like I know class is very different across. in both of our cultures. But I wonder if class factors into like people relating to certain characters.
Um, yeah, I suppose so. Like, I mean, I wouldn't really be able to answer that question because, like,
Hmm.
our, like I said earlier, like our class system works extremely differently from
Yeah.
UK class culture. Um, so yeah, I don't feel like 100% qualified to answer that. But I think, yeah, there are some people who do experience things differently in the game because they come from like Bo's exact background, or
Yeah.
in the rare case, Al's exact background. Although I've not really met anyone who has had the same experience yet. Maybe my
Yeah.
friend from high school, like the only one of my high school friends who played our game. But
Yeah, I do think like there were a few people who didn't quite get it or relate to uh, some of the stuff Bo was going through because of class, and but also because Bo is British. Like even between like like say like an American or like Australian or whatever, like another English speaking country. Um, I think like the are like the problems are like they are British. Like I do think like they can be related to. Like I don't think you have to be British to be able to play No Longer Home. This one's for the Brits, Rule
oh, you
Britannia.
don't know. You say that, but
Like I do think it is like something that can resonate worldwide for sure. But there are like certain things where you're like, oh, I didn't think people wouldn't quite get that. Like I thought that would be a more universal thing than it seems to be.
do
And
you
I'm
have
trying to
any like
think of any
examples for that?
examples. Yeah, um, I do think like the way class is experienced in the UK is maybe a bit of an example of it. I can't think of any like examples in the dialogue specifically.
Mm.
I do remember someone talking about like no longer home, not talking about money, um, which like it talks about money so much. Um,
Constantly.
yeah, and it's like I feel like maybe like that feeling comes more from having a different understanding of class, maybe.
Maybe. That's actually interesting. I don't think I've read that comment. Um,
Yeah.
and it could be the case that actually I'm not sure because like America has student loans as well, right? I mean, everyone's screaming about student
Um,
loans.
America has student loans,
They have
but they do
scholarships.
they do work differently to the UK. I'm not sure exactly how they work.
Yeah,
Um, uh, in Scotland, and even just like within the UK, like in Scotland, education is free. Like higher education is free.
right.
Um, so like like I have friends that went to uni for free within the same island. um,
Which is effed up in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah. Like education should be free for everyone
For
at
everyone.
every level, everywhere.
And
Um,
cannot agree more.
yeah, like I do think it's so messed up the amount of debt um, it like it leaves a lot of people in.
And like upping the tuition, this is something we complain about
Mm,
constantly, but like
yeah,
for what reason?
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's scary, and it is like like currently we've got bill prices raising, like energy prices raising, and I do
Which
feel
is
like
like a
that's
worldwide thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's like the same kind of thing, just at a different kind of scale, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you would have expected, it's been quite a quite some time since we started or have developed this game. And
Yeah.
you would have expected things to be like sorted out a bit more, but they kind of just get worse
Yeah, I hate to be pessimistic about it, but like, and like I am hopeful things will get better still.
at some
Um,
point.
but I do feel like things have only gotten worse since we've
Yeah,
you know, since the beginning of development. I do think like the world is
a more hostile place.
yeah, more hostile. Yeah. Um,
Oh well, at least we have.
which is yeah, maybe we should find another topic to move on so we're
Yeah,
not
let's
like
let's
sticking
like
on a sour note.
yeah, because it's like we weren't really like opposed to talking about like negative things about the game, but we weren't really
Oh
ready to
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about negative things about the world.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I
So
don't
let's.
want like I don't know. Like I
You
think
don't
it's
want a
important
downer
to
stream.
yeah, it's important to talk about these things, but like you know, I don't want to overdo
Yeah,
it. I don't want it to be like because you know you check Twitter and it's everything you see on the timeline and like in your like explore tab, and like sometimes you just want to like not hear about it for a bit.
yeah, which
Um,
is totally fine. You're
which I
allowed to
guess
not have
like
opinion on things.
yeah, which I guess like if you don't want to hear about it for a bit, I guess don't play No Longer Home. But once you're in the mood, then you play it, and
When
then
you feel
you
like you're in the zone.
yeah, then you have a bit of reflection. You think about the world and your place in it. Um, yeah, I do think we actually like this is something interesting to talk about. Is like we did design No Longer Home as like this thing that would hopefully allow players to reflect. Um, and I was wondering if you maybe had any thoughts on that.
Head empty. Um,
Focusing too much on this eye.
ref reflect upon. Yeah, I mean, like, I think the reflection it naturally happens because this game is literally a reflection of our lives.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think there was anything like very much in specific of what I wanted people to reflect upon. I kind of like just wanted people to think generally,
Yeah.
like, which is something which I wish upon the world a lot, and
Yeah.
upon myself as well, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Like not to get on a like high horse too much, but yeah, sometimes you just wanna like shake people, you know?
Yeah, I'm just like,
and
oh man, like,
yeah.
come on, you can be better than this. I'm sure, like, I'm rooting for
Yeah.
you, but I hate what you're saying right now.
Yeah, and you know, I think like the hope is like, or you know, the idea of the game was this kind of occasional shake and gentle stirring of people, hopefully that play it. Um, because I do want people who play the game to reflect on their life and other people's lives and the world around them.
Yeah, I think actually, no, you make a good point because I think I wanted people to sort of be able to reflect upon other people's lives and not just their
Yeah,
own. Like,
absolutely.
because I don't want to be that person, but like I think there is a lot less compassion in the world at the moment, and
Yeah,
like I think compassion for some things are definitely growing, but it's not really enough, and um, a lot of people. Okay, not to get on my high horse again, but I feel like a lot of people sort of lack the imagination to put themselves in other people's shoes.
yeah. I think we can all, um, you know, like earlier I was talking about like protagonist syndrome. Like I think we can all fall into that. Like I definitely can. I think
Yeah,
like that's a completely normal thing to fall into. It just needs to like you need to like keep it in check. And like what was I gonna say?
like old Tumblr saying, check yourself before you wreck yourself, like
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say
oh, check yourself.
yes, I was gonna say check yourself before you wreck yourself. No, like like this kind of like protagonist syndrome kind of thing. Like I believe that to be like an effect of capitalism. Like I
Oh,
think
definitely.
yeah, like capitalism like disconnects us from the world around us and the people around us.
Capitalism leading to like libertarianism or whatever you call it.
Oh
Lib
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's like not go there too hard, but yeah.
All right,
That
I'm not
scares
gonna
people off.
I'm not gonna talk too much about it. It's
No, yeah, it's okay. Keep having your brunch.
that
Everyone chill.
it's it's kind of kind of related but unrelated. So I'm gonna vaguely talk COVID, but so
Mm,
um when COVID was first a thing and we kind of had to like we needed the government to sort of help us. What they said was so we have like three forms of help.
mm,
And what the government said was the first help that we should go to was helping yourself, like sorting out the problem yourself. Second, um, get help from others, so like community care. And third came government or like public health.
mm.
So they're
Right.
basically just kind of like, well, good luck
Right.
to you.
So
It's
so individualize everything.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
there was like a huge thing about like, um, some people just get COVID like because they go to work and like it just literally can't be helped because we're not getting enough
Yeah.
benefits to not go to work. But then you get COVID, and then people
Mm.
are kind of just like, "Oh, you're irresponsible. This is your fault."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean like I'm not gonna like harp on COVID too much, but like while we're here, like like in the UK, you could get COVID tests for free. That is not any longer possible. You now have to pay for them, and it absolutely means that those who can't afford it will not buy them, will not get tested, will get COVID, will not know it, and will spread it not knowing it.
Yeah,
Um, and they will spread it mostly to people of the of the same class, because generally working class people are around other working class people, and that is yeah, class eugenics.
yeah,
Anyway.
and like it's not. I will change topic after this. It's kind of the same in Japan because uh we never like we have free PCR tests, but for people who um don't think they have COVID or aren't sick. So it's like,
That makes no sense.
so it's for people who are like, I want to just get tested for the sake of it. Um,
It
if
what?
you do think you have COVID, you have to go through like a huge convoluted process of like, calling the health, I don't know what you call it in English, but like kind of health service sort of thing. I guess the sort of equivalent of the NHS,
Right.
being like, I think I have COVID. Can you point me to a doctor that does
Mm,
PCR tests?
right.
And the process is very convoluted.
That's so strange. I mean,
So
not that it's like better in the UK, but yeah, that's very strange.
yeah, and yeah, just PCR tests weren't. I don't think they're free anymore. They were free for like
Mm.
3 months for
God, is
people
that
who
it?
didn't have COVID.
It's like, oh my god. Yeah, that's wild.
Like it's a lot cheaper now, but it used to be like 300 quid for a test.
Mm. Yeah.
To put into perspective, 300 quid is about like $450 or something, I would assume.
Mm, right. Jeez.
Yeah, fun times.
God.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something else.
Yeah. I mean, we're at the hour mark, so we should think about wrapping up.
Okay,
Um,
well,
but I'm wondering what's a good thing to wrap up on.
um, like, I guess let's talk about like achievements maybe, or like what we personally think
Hmm.
we got out of this whole experience.
Yeah. Um, would you be up for starting us off?
Sure. I mean, like, I think, um, I wasn't expecting us to be nominated for like the Game Awards and stuff
Oh
at
God,
all.
I like forgot about that for a moment. Yeah.
Oh, humble brag.
No, but like
But
it's easy to like um kind of neglect or bat away your achievements, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, no, definitely. And
um
like, it's when it's something that you're not used to as well, especially, it's
yeah,
hard to acknowledge that you have had this sort of achievement.
yeah.
Um, and so we were like nominated for the TGA. We're nominated for the Webby Awards recently. Um, I voted for our game, and it said we came in fifth. So I was like, okay, well, no hope, but at least we're nominated.
Yeah, I mean it's the Webbies, which is just like a any voting award stuff. It's like it's just a popularity contest, and like
Yeah,
I yeah, I'm just happy we were nominated. Like that is very flattering.
yeah.
Out of like you know a considerable amount of submissions, so
Out of
like
the whole internet,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. So like uh I do really appreciate that like people are like I don't know, like waving the flag for us, you know?
Yeah, and paying attention to us.
Yeah.
And like, we also won the PlayStation Award at Bit Summit,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. We can say we're award winning.
yeah, Shuhei Yoshida himself was like, he sees a lot of potential in this game, and he's not really seen any games like this before, and he really
Yeah.
liked that. And stupidly during the awards ceremony, because I won a PS5, the first thing I said was, "Oh, I'm so happy about my PS5," and not.
Didn't say anything about the game.
I said stuff about the game, but I was way too nervous.
Oh.
And I tweeted that later, being like, "I'm so embarrassed." And Shuhei Yoshida was like, it's good to be honest with yourself." And I was like, "Oh," but that was
Yeah,
a
he's been very nice.
yeah, but that was a severely embarrassing experience. But it only happened because we're award
but
winners.
you got an award and a PS5 out of it, so
Yeah,
like worth the embarrassment.
exactly. But yeah, how do you feel about like awards or like achievements or
Yeah, like
personal achievements
I
even?
like I think generally like awards are not the greatest measurement of success, um, but it sure does feel nice to get them or like be nominated for them. Like,
Yeah,
and it is just like it's nice to have that recognition and like um, I don't know, like I am very proud of what we made, and I do think we deserve some recognition. Um, so like, um, but I also appreciate that we are a smaller studio. We made a small game.
and
Um,
and an extremely personal one at that.
yeah, yeah. It's like it's a weird game. Like like it's
People might even argue that it's not a game.
yeah, but like gamers will say that about any game. Um, like gamers will say that about like AAA games, like just because they've got a bit more narrative than they're used to.
Make them
Um,
play Proteus and blow their goddamn minds.
um, but yeah, like I do think we took a lot of risk and experiments in making this game, and like I think it's important that games that do that exist. Um, like just talking about like the medium in general, like not just our game. Like I think it's important that games like ours do get recognized, and like
Yeah,
I do think it like helps push the medium. Like going back to like what I was talking about, like our influence of like From Software. Like I think that's a studio that really uh pushes to experiment in the medium and is not like obviously they kind of have this formula at the moment, but they still do keep pushing that formula and seeing how they can experiment. And like like
yeah,
Demon Souls, like when that came out there was nothing like it. um so and like now they like Elden Ring is this like massively selling game that people love. And yeah, I think it's worth like obviously like being massively selling is not like uh, a measurement of success, but
yeah,
I do think it's like you know there was something of worth there that like people might have gave up on.
yeah. And like, what's good about From Software is that like the formula might be the same, but they keep experimenting with like what they can do as mechanics
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
And like for me, like video games is just another medium, and I always say
oh,
this, but it's
absolutely,
like
yeah,
it's you know, it's not it has its own special sort of attributes
yeah,
to it, obviously, but like at the end of the day, it's entertainment,
yeah,
or interactive entertainment, but it's the same as a film or like a
yeah.
book.
But
Um,
like every medium, it's a medium that deserves to be pushed.
yeah, so like you get experimental films, you get like transgressive fiction and books and
Yeah,
stuff, and I'm not sure why games aren't allowed to push for more like boundary breaking things.
I think it's how they've been marketed. It is like from fairly early on in the industry, they've been marketed as toys. Um, so I think that massively contributes to the way people consume games, and what they expect of games.
Yeah, yeah, that makes total sense. Like I don't don't know how to come off as not pretentious, but I think this
You're not going to be
uh,
pretentious.
like
You just say how you feel.
like the industry has to mature, the players, the consumers, and the sort of creators or
Yeah, yeah.
like
Like I
themselves.
do think as creators we have to take risks and trust our audience. Like like you know, they're not gonna grow up if we don't start giving them uh proper
Non-baby food.
food. Yes, exactly. Um, not to like sound disparaging of other games or anything. Just like you get my meaning.
Yeah, and 3 years ago I may have called that pretentious, but I wholeheartedly agree with you now. But
um, yeah, and I
yeah,
guess like a note to end on is like I'm really proud of what we've made, and like you know I think both of us are going to continue to like be experimental and push uh in whatever medium we work in.
yeah, and like cheers to us, really. Like I'm by no means are we big or anything in the industry at all, but I think we still, as individuals, have that sort of drive to make things better and the drive to make things more interesting, and there
Yeah.
are loads of other people in the industry who feel the same. So,
Yeah. Oh,
I think,
definitely.
yeah, I'm very positive that we can sort of make a change. I don't like saying, I sound like Obama, but
Yeah, this is not a presidential campaign, but
yeah,
I do I totally understand. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
yeah, like, the more people who call for more interesting things, like the interesting things will happen eventually. So we just
You're
need.
really struggling with that N. This is looking so good though.
Thank you,
Like, yeah,
but
this is so cool.
I just want more things in life that are fun and makes you think, and yeah, that's my speech, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Worded as eloquently as possible.
Yeah, but like what time is it in Japan right now?
It's 1 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. And like you've not been speaking much English lately. Like it's fine. You've got plenty of excuses.
I'm Mr. Bilingual. I'm Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, yeah, you are Mr.
Pit
Worldwide.
Pitbull holding the globe.
um, Also, like, if you got this far in the stream, hey, thanks for sticking around. You're here because you stumbled here on Steam, or maybe you're watching it on YouTube or something. I don't know where we're gonna post it. Um, but you might be here because of Ludo Naricon, because that's currently going on right now as the time of this being streamed on Steam. If it is, uh, that also means that No Longer Home is 50% off, which is the biggest discount we've done and are likely to
A-
do for quite some time.
And you can
Um,
download a demo.
yes, you can also download the demo right now. The demo will say coming out soon, but that's wrong. Ignore it. It is out now.
It
It
is
has
out
been out
now.
for almost a year. um,
Yeah, we're reaching our release anniversary in
yeah.
um what month is it right now?
It is
It's April.
almost May. It's April. It's the end of April,
So
and
in
what we
three
released
months,
in July, was it? Was it
end of
June?
July.
Yeah, we released end of July. So
So
was
three
it
months.
July the 28th, something like that?
Was it
Around
30th?
that time.
Yeah, 'cause I think 30th or 31st. I remember because it's like I got vaccinated very close to that time, and I
Yeah,
was like, I'm gonna be feeling awful for release. I don't want that.
yeah, yeah. And actually, that's a point. We'll get to
What, get
celebrate the
vaccinated? Oh,
anniversary in person.
oh, I thought you were gonna say get vaccinated.
No, like I was thinking because like last year it came out, pandemic. Obviously the pandemic is still around, but like uh, Hannah will be moving here.
Yeah,
Um, so we will actually be able to celebrate the release of No Longer Home a year later,
a long time coming.
which will be very nice. um,
And on
but
that note, I think I am done.
yeah, nice. It's looking very cool.
Thank you,
It's very
thank you.
like blurry on my screen right now, but once it settles, it'll like
Yeah,
the
I'll.
resolution will pop in.
Yeah, I won't post this immediately. I'll post it when Lunar Naricon is on. When
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
watching it.
So like, if you're watching this live, uh, again, this is pre-recorded, so if we're not answering your questions, that's why. But if you're watching this live, we'll be posting this on Twitter like now. Um, Again, go buy No
I
Longer
don't know when the
Home.
now would be.
Go buy No Longer Home. It's 50% off currently.
Yeah,
Um, it's a bargain. absolute bargain.
It's
It's worth
bargain.
more. It's worth more than that, but we're giving it to you for half the price.
It's a bargain. It makes you emo. You know, what more can you ask for? Also, it's like easier to play now that like there's no lockdown and we're not like,
Yeah,
you know, under house arrest. So
yeah. All right, thanks for watching.
yeah,
Enjoy
thanks for
Ludo
watching.
Naricon. Go watch a panel or something. I'm
Go
sure there's
go
plenty
play
going on. And
games.
go play
Go buy
games and
games.
demos. Yeah. All
Have
right.
fun. Go all out.
Goodbye.
All right. Goodbye.